Welcome everyone, today we'll have a new builders guide for Diablo 4 and also the Druid for Season 3. Now looking behind me, due to popular requests, we have made a Duriel boss slaying build for the Druid, and the boss is melting pretty fast. Although yes, this is a one person solo, but it was easier to do the build testing this way, and you can see that the boss will melt in pretty much 10 seconds. And yes, the boss did charge and escape, and that can't be helped. But if you're looking for a boss slaying Druid, this is incredibly good. So for a number of reasons. One is that the build have a very cheap and also basic build up. You just need one helmet, the Tempest Roar from Duriel, and then you're pretty much set. And you can have increased AoE potential, damage scaling with multiple uniques you find in the game, including items from the Beast in the Eyes and also new Uber uniques that is available and also updated, like the Ring of the Stars, which I'll go through in this video. Now because the replay is pretty short and you guys can have a look when it is ready, and my friend will provide us, and I will provide you guys, with the entire replay of the summary of his gears, his stats, the choices of booms, and also his paragons and also skill trees in the replay and also in the builder's guide. So coming over to the builder's guide over here, the links will be available to you guys, and you can see there is a difference compared to our previous build, which was the tier 100 nightmare slaying, werewolf Zeus build, because there are some adjustments. So let me go through the adjustments and also the difference. Well, the first thing is, yes, we're running a Zoo companion. You can see all three of the companion skills on the skill tree. They're not here to do the most damage, but rather they're here to amplify your core spell damage. So one of the highlights of the build is that you'll be increasing one additional companion, and yes, your companion will do additional damage, but that won't be the biggest deal. So this aspect of Stampede combined with the aspects of the Shepherd, which allows you to deal more damage based on active companions, is one of the biggest theme of the build for the boss slaying or the melting Druid. And this is quite good because in the replay, you can see that we're constantly surrounded by wolves, companions, ravens, and also van creepers. Even though you can't really see the van creepers, they're like running around. You can see the ravens flying, and having more companions feels like a zoo. And yes guys, this is the major theme of the combination of a zoo companion that deals more damage with the core spells, which I kinda like it. I wish the companions can do more damage themselves though, but I'm happy to have the companions. One thing to notice is that yes, because this build is focused on the companions, we're using a two-handed weapon over here to get the double boost from having the companions, which becomes scaling into 20% increased damage per active companion, which is very powerful. Now the build also utilizes increasing core skill damage with fortified damage, and also ability to use the new unique, which allows you to shoot more lightning storms, which increases your damage. The build will be benefiting from the keystone from the Earthing Might, which restores your spirit and also increase your damage with guaranteed critical strike and also critical damage. Now the build is quite durable in itself because you will be increasing armor by sacrificing evade cooldown, and also over here we'll have damage reduction while shifting into the werewolf form. Now briefly going through the choices of the spirit bombs, we'll be reducing damage from elites, dealing more critical strike damage because the key passive will give us guaranteed critical chance, and also here we'll having ability to restore spirit, and finally we have the ability to gain life as we critical strike, and also having chance to reduce cooldowns of our ultimate. Now the ultimate for Petrify will give us additional critical damage and also critical damage against the boss, which is quite good for rapid melting against Duriel or any Uber bosses. Briefly going through the choices of the pet gems. Now my friend have perked in the perspective that if you have two of the unique gems that is available in the game, Everlight and also Genesis. Now for the case that you guys do not have those unique gems, you can be replacing them for something else. So the efficient support for critical chance is good, fortified support is good. You can also go with any of the damage reduction, or you can go with the vulnerability over here with Tempest to apply vulnerability. And over here as for Genesis, you can replace this one with Voluminous, which gives about 50% of the effectiveness compared to the 150%. But once you have the unique gems, they are best in slot for those two skills of the pet. Now the skill tree will be available for you guys to have a look. Now briefly going through the paragon, there are 5 glyphs that are selected, including the increased werewolf damage glyph, and also here we'll be dealing more damage with exploit through vulnerability. We'll be having more damage while healthy, And here we have the Earth and Sky, which increases the natural damage of the lightning storms. And finally, we will be increasing the critical damage of the Druid. It is quite straightforward, and my friend have adjusted Paragon a little bit, so compared to the previous one, you do want to have a quick look over here if you have been following the previous Druid build. There are definitely some adjustments in the Paragon board over here if you compare to the previous one, just so you guys know. Now before we jump into the skill rotations, in case you guys are wondering, hey, how the build fares with clearing out nightmare dungeons and higher tier dungeons and speedrunning, I will say the build is pretty fair. Oh, this is a build, so this is the new build for the boss build, but the build will lack some key aspects because it focuses on melting bosses, right? Now the build will be probably B tier or A tier if you're going for nightmare dungeons. It can still work and it is quite durable. And yes, I forgot to mention that you can replace some of the uber uniques over here, and my friend have written some notes over here. In case you guys are wondering, we have a very powerful tier 100 speedrun build, and we're planning to improve this one maybe down to 3 or 2 minutes for the nightmare dungeons. So I have the other build available for you guys if you want to speed farming for the nightmare dungeons. It is incredibly good. Now coming over to the skill rotations for Duriel, this one's quite simple. So what you want to do is, you want to be casting your lightning storm onto Duriel. And while doing so, you want to be casting Vent Creepers to apply poison to get the additional benefits of the buffs from the Vent Creeper. You can be applying your Ravens and also Wolves, but most of the time you can see my friend just zaps Duriel. Now one of the bigger focus is, yes, you want to have your barriers and also your fortified. Because you'll be dealing additional damage with fortified, it is quite important for you to be casting your Earthen Bulwark and also your ultimate. Notice that during this entire fight, my friend didn't have his ultimate ready, and if he had his ultimate, he would do even more damage against Duriel and kill it even faster. So hopefully you guys enjoy this super fast melting build with the boss slaying Druid, and it requires only one Tempest Roar to make it work, and it can become even stronger. Over here I'll provide the entire replay for you guys, which is quite short, but my friend also have the stats and also everything showed in the gameplay for his current Druid.